Welcome to Hospitality Property School. You are listening to Hospitality Property School with your host, Jerry McPherson. Well, good day and welcome to another edition of Hospitality Property School. I am your instructor, Jerry McPherson, and today our topic is, what is revenue management? But let me start by asking you a couple of questions. Why did you want to become a hospitality property owner? Was it the idea of becoming an innkeeper or hotelier and greeting guests sounded appealing? Were you tired of the rat race and wanted to take control of your own destiny? Or, like most owners, you wanted to make money, or even better, to make more money in less time? Now, one of the main factors you need to be successful and to make more money in less time is for you to understand revenue management and why it is important. It is what propels hotels, resorts, inns, and bed and breakfast success. It does not matter the size of your property. A guest room is a perishable product, since the number of guest rooms you have is defined. For this reason, pricing and customer happiness remains very important variables, which are the subject to hospitality property revenue management. Effectively managing rates and availability while watching all the different key performance markers takes talent and training. Branded hospitality property chains have departments that only focus on these reports, which result in a well-organized revenue management strategy. This is not the same for smaller properties because time and resources are limited, causing them to take a short-term approach to revenue management. Knowing how to understand the reports is an invaluable resource because they can help hospitality property owners make choices that will result in positive outcomes. Key Performance Indicators, or KPIs. You need to know and understand the following numbers to manage the revenue of your hospitality property: the occupancy rate, the average daily rate, or ADR, revenue per available room, or RevPAR, and total revenue, that's rooms sold. Okay, let's start with occupancy rate. This is one of the easiest metrics you can check. It is the percentage of occupied rooms compared to the total rooms over a certain period of time. In other words, occupancy equals rooms occupied divided by rooms available. Knowing these numbers will help you create the foundation of your revenue management strategy. Revenue per available room, or the RevPAR. RevPAR is an operation metric which is analyzed by multiplying hospitality property's average daily room rate by its occupancy rate. You can also analyze RevPAR by dividing a hospitality property's revenue by the number of rooms or beds it has over a desired period of time. So in other words, RevPAR equals total room revenue divided by rooms available. RevPAR only uses room revenue, and it does not include other revenue streams such as upgrades or restaurant revenue. You can use this analysis to compare performance to other properties, but it could fluctuate greatly by property type. Average daily rate, or ADR. ADR calculates the average price per room and helps you determine how much money was brought in per room. You calculate ADR by taking the room revenue and dividing it by the number of paid rooms occupied. In other words, ADR equals room revenue divided by paid rooms occupied. Now, ADR only considers the rooms that were sold. It does not include vacant rooms. Now, other important metrics to keep in mind and to consider when creating reports include total rooms sold, total revenue, and revenue divided by categories, such as rooms, restaurants, spas, etc. Now here's how you can play like the big boys. How to approach revenue management. Well, first, you have to take a long-term approach. You have to use market information and analysis. One of the major differences between large branded hospitality properties and smaller independent properties is forecasting. Quite often, an independent property owner will look at the current month's revenue and forecast and might make decisions that will affect the entire year. A larger or branded hospitality property will take a look at how the current day and month play into a season, a quarter, and a year. Even though smaller independent hospitality properties do not have the same resources as larger properties, there are a few things you can do. Take a long-term approach. When you only look at your revenue strategy on a monthly basis, your property could be leaving money on the table. Larger properties generally look at revenue and rates by quarters and seasons rather than months. When you take a more long-term approach to rates and revenues, you can more correctly react to current market conditions. For example, if you're in the high season and bookings are soft, you have an idea of what you need to make up in the following months. Or if your next month's bookings are higher than expected, you can raise the rates to make up for last month's lost revenues. If you handle your rates and revenue monthly, you are more likely to make thoughtless reactions. This means you might make needless changes that could end up costing you more than your current situation. For example, if your current bookings are too soft, your first reaction might be to reduce rates to increase demand. But if you take the whole season into consideration, you might realize that your last month's performance was pretty good, and you need not worry about fewer bookings at regular prices. More guests in your property doesn't always mean more revenue generated. This is why your ADR is so important. You can lower your rates and generate more demand, but you have to make sure your revenues and profits are still higher. The thing to remember here is that you should be looking at your rate and revenue targets by quarter or season instead of monthly. Every property is different, so there's no definite forecast structure that makes sense for every property. Use market information. Large branded hospitality properties have the benefit of knowledge. They have the resources to purchase market reports that includes information about rates, availability, and projected demand. If you don't have the resources to buy your own market research reports, because they are expensive, you can check with your local tourism websites or office for up-to-date information. Tourism offices often publicly release information, on-demand forecasts, upcoming events, and other information that could be useful when planning out demand that influences rates. You want to make yourself aware of market trends, as well as local travel trends, to have the most success. Knowledge is power, and you want to prepare yourself as much as possible. Write analysis. Large branded hospitality properties write analysis every month that report on how rates and revenue performed. Now, this could be very time-consuming for any hospitality property owner, so you might want to consider just analyzing those months where you don't meet your goals. This is important because it means that you do not have to correctly read the market. Detailed reports containing how and why you missed your goals will help you prevent making those mistakes in the future. Analyses are particularly helpful for the same season next year, when the market trends tend to copy each other. Without analysis, you might not remember exactly what happened a full year earlier. Once you're comfortable with putting together the analysis, you can start doing the same for the good months. If you make a decision and read your market correctly, you will likely want to remember what you did to replicate it in the future. Conclusion. By learning and understanding key performance indicators and following the 3 steps to revenue management, taking a long-term approach, using market information, and analysis, you'll be able to operate your hospitality property like a large branded property and stay ahead of your competition. In the next podcast, I will take a look at the list of reports you should run every night. If you have any interesting stories about understanding revenue management and would like to share, or have any questions or feedback, leave them in the comment section of the show notes. You can find them at keystonehospitalitydevelopment.com/KHDC066. Well, that's it for today's session of Hospitality Property School. We do appreciate your comments, and if you have any topic ideas, please reach out to us on Facebook at facebook.com/KeystoneHDC, on Twitter at twitter.com/KeystoneHDC, or by email at info@keystonehospitalitydevelopment.com. As always, let's work together to put more heads in your beds. Until next time, have a fun day. This session of Hospitality Property School has come to a close. Be sure to subscribe so as not to miss any hospitality property tactics and strategies that will help you find the success you have always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best content possible. We will see you next time, right here in Hospitality Property School.